Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, Ajinkya, Neelam. Good morning. Shall we start or wait for 2 minutes? Others are joining. Shada. Hello. Okay. Let us start and join within a few minutes. Yesterday we had started discussing about Kaizen costing technique. So under Kaizen costing technique, yesterday we have seen two cycles basically. One is continuous improvement cycle and second one is maintenance cycle. Yesterday we have also discussed these principles of standard costing technique. Okay. So if you're talking about the assumption about the Kaizen costing technique, under Kaizen costing technique, the main assumption what we say is nothing is perfect. So that means whatever we are having about the products and whatever the processes we are following in company while producing the product and distributing the product to the, so from the purchase of the raw material till the at the hands of customer, even say after sale service if it is there, and so many other things, right? So we say under Kaizen costing that whatever we are having about these products, services, and all of those actions and all is they are not perfect. So there is always a scope for improvement and reduction in the cost, right? So basically, generally what happens, we talk about reduction in variable cost because there are two types of cost when we consider under, say, marginal cost. What is fixed cost? That is variable. Now, basically, the cost which we have already incurred on, say, plant and machinery and so on, and we are charging depreciation on that and all. So once the investment is made, fixed investment is made, right? Whatever cost we are incurring because of that, okay, or say other services which are having, which are of a permanent nature, so that cost we cannot reduce it so easily, right? But when we are talking about variable cost, right, there is always scope for reduction of variable cost in case of our material and services, actions, and so on, whatever we are having processes in our industry, right? So, under Kaizen costing, we say that all these parameters are not perfect and there is a scope for improvement. And as we are trying to improve through, say, value engineering, value analysis, through cost centers, profit centers, cost objects, and so on, right? So, it will reflect into reduction of variable cost. So, slight additional changes are regularly applied and maintained during the production stages of product life cycle over a long period, leading to substantial improvements. Right. So, under Kaizen costing, what we'll try to do is we will have some regularly additional changes into our uh, whatever the cost drivers we have, cost objects we have, and so on, right? On a regular basis. And there, even if there is a small change, we will try to implement that during the production stage of product life cycle. And it will keep on carrying on over a long period. It is not a short period, what we say, just of say 1 month, 2 months, or say on particular quarter. It will be continued for years, right? Whatever the period is. Suppose take an example like a car, right? If you are producing a car, so the generally whenever a car model is introduced, that particular model the company will keep on running for say 5 years, right? And generally then after that particular 5 years or 3 years, then company decides to make the overall changes in that particular model. So they bring the big changes. But whenever the product is continued for say 3 years or 5 years, before making to reintroducing that product type, you will always try to keep on improving on a regular basis, right? So on a regular basis, you will try to improve the that particular cost object, right? And you will try to reduce the costs. So the it will reflect on your strategies and it will reflect on your costing, right? So we always say that nothing is perfect, right? And there is always a scope for improvement and reduction in cost. And what happens, when we say that we'll be bringing little change whenever it is possible. So if you see, whenever you are making little change, say if you are making some change in a quarter, now suppose 4, 5, 6 quarters goes on, then after 1.5 year, 2 years, you suddenly find there is now has been a substantial improvement in the product or a service, right? So when you are having a product, substantial improvement, because slowly slowly you are making some improvement. So it's like take example, like same thing happens with our, we keep on trying improving ourselves. Like if you take example for yourself, when you joined a matrix for doing MBA, the matrix has implemented so many activities, right? And so many other programs and also on to make improvements in you. So and you have been taking participation in all those kinds of activities like group discussion, presentations, and so on. And last 2 years, slowly you have made an improvement in you. Now if you see yourself today, that after almost to completion of 2 years of your MBA program, now suddenly you yourself may not realize what big change has come into you. But if somebody is seeing you after your graduation, 2 years of your MBA, then they will see that is a substantial improvement in you. Correct? So we personally also, we always try to keep on improving whenever there is a small scope is there, right? We keep on improving, right? So same thing applies in the economy, in the our product life cycle when we follow Kaizen costing. There are types of Kaizen costing. Okay, one is called as asset oriented or organization Kaizen costing technique, right? So these are activities, basically Kaizen costing activities, right? Whatever activities we have studied under two cycles, that is continuous improvement and maintenance cycle, sub cycles, right? They are planned and directed as per the requirement of a firm or a deal. So whenever we are talking about a particular, take example like a plant, right? If you are setting a some expansion plant is there, so it is a like a asset oriented, right? Or if you talk about say organization, you are having a subsidiary company, or you are having a say you're going to acquire another company, right? So you will talk about this Kaizen costing technique under that. So then that will become say asset oriented or say organization oriented, correct? Like suppose take example, if you are having take example, you are producing a car, then you will talk about say the painting shop, right? That is a plant which unit I have set up for painting the cars, right? So whatever improvements I am doing for that particular unit, so it is a cassette oriented, right? Whatever machines are there, right? Whatever the setup I have done there, right, which is of a fixed nature, asset nature, right? So that will become a your asset oriented Kaizen costing activities. Second thing, if you talk about product, right? So when you are talking about say uh, say product oriented kind of thing, like take example, if you are producing two wheeler, and now in the two wheeler when you are producing two wheelers, you are having a take example a 100 cc two wheeler, that is motorcycle, and then you are having say 350 cc motorcycle or 500 cc motorcycle, and then you are having 150 cc scooter, or say 100 cc electrical scooter. So whenever you are going to do the activities related with specific projects, right? So we'll say it is a product oriented Kaizen costing technique. So you analyze, you focus related with value engineering, value analysis, value management related to that particular product. So it is a specialized kind of thing, right? So that's what you call it as say product oriented Kaizen costing activities, right? So whenever you are going for some, just hold on 1 minute. Yes, sorry. We were discussing about product oriented and asset oriented Kaizen costing technique, right? So whenever you are talking about a block of some asset, a particular unit, right, you will say it is related with asset oriented or organization oriented. You're looking at say overall a company, right? Uh, take example, if you are looking for say administrative department, right? So that is related with some organization kind of thing. And when you're talking about a specialized one, like talking about your products, right? So suppose take example, you are in FMCG, and then you're looking for your say soap divisions, right? Or you're looking for say your shampoo division, right? So that will become a specialized project for you, right? For value analysis and value chain. Okay. So Kaizen costing is laid out to redo many value engineering steps until the production of product continues, and constantly working on upgrading the process and thus eliminating extra cost. So whenever we are talking about Kaizen technique, right, we are what we are doing is we are redoing it. We keep on engineering, and so related with the production of product. So it is continuously going on and constantly working on upgrading the processes. And when you're talking about upgrading the processes, we are trying to remove some extra variable cost, right? We are trying to eliminate extra variable costs, so our profitability will go up and we will be having, say, competitive edge in the globalized world. However, the cost reduction arising from Kaizen costing is quite less than those attained with value engineering, right? So, if you're talking about value engineering is a big exercise, correct? You're talking about, say, car, and in that car, if you're talking about, say, particular, say, engine. Now, if you're doing a value engineering about, say, engine, right? It is a big task, right? So when you're going for a value engineering, the result because of value engineering will be on a bigger scale. But if you're just going for a Kaizen costing technique, right? And if you're talking about, say, the small improvements in that, okay, then in that case there will be uh, less amount of your reduction in your variable cost. But if you are talking about value engineering is a complicated process, as well as it is a long term process, little long term process. So it gives you a major uh, benefit as compared to Kaizen costing. But anyway, we both will be coming under overall your cost reduction activity. Then what are the 5S in Kaizen costing? Okay, now these are the characteristics, you can say, that you are regarding Kaizen costing. There is one called like sort, then we say strengthen, shine, standardize, sustain, right? Now there are even the 5S words, which are Japanese words. Okay, so when we talk about the first step about Kaizen costing, right? So what are the steps basically in Kaizen costing, which are starting with the word with S, right? So first step is sort, right? So we do the sorting, okay, under the first step. So the first step in based on their necessity. So we will try to whatever the items we have, we are talking about cost items. Whatever we are having cost items, we will try to categorize them on the basis of the necessity, right? What value they are creating. Okay, then what we'll do is unnecessary items should be labeled as red. Okay, that means if the possibility is there, then we should remove this. Okay, and then so the cost will go down. So unnecessarily cost items, right, we will try to move out. Okay, and these items can be sold to the staff, or scrap else can be dumped by the organization. So whatever these cost items, one thing you can do is you can sell to your internal staff at a discount price. Okay, if they are interested. If they're not interested, then you can find out the other people who are looking for it. The last option for you is to scrap it, right? Okay, so under sorting activity, the first activity what you will do is you will categorize to your necessity and unnecessary cost items. Then second one is strengthen, right? Now the organization is left over with now your necessary items, because in the first sorting step you are removing unnecessary items. So now you are having the necessary essential items with you. So what you will do now with them? You will orderly arrange them, right? To simplify your operations. So whatever necessary cost items you are having now, you will simplify your operations by maintaining them in a or arranging them in a orderly manner. right? So this particular strengthening will improve the visibility, availability, and accessibility of all the tools and cost items which you are using, right, for your production purposes, right? Because of sorting out first with your essential, non-essential cost items, right? And then at the second stage strengthening, you're or properly arranging them in a particular manner to simplify your operations, so the visibility, availability, and accessibility will improve, right? So it will strengthen your operations, right? Then third stage will say shine, right? So what is a shine? Shine means, like we say when we are shoe polishing, right? Shining, correct? Okay, so it is what you will do. It is because of the cleanliness which you clean, right? When you polish your shoes, right? It then only it if you, when you clean and while the brush, right, then it becomes, it shines, correct, your products. So um, by whenever we are sorting out this strengthening, this necessary items, tools and cost items and so on, so obviously when you maintain it, like under Kaizen costing we have seen, there is another subcycle which is called as maintenance subcycle, right? So it will improve the cleanliness, and you, when you talk about cleanliness, it also have a positive effect on work environment, like on the health of the employees and so on, right? Even the morale, the motivation, the employees feel happy with the clean environment, right? So this will say shine, right? Then next step we talk about is standardize, right? So when you are talking about standardize, now once you are talking, coming to know that these particular things, right, whatever I am making them visible, available, accessible, now these are becoming then my standards, right? I have to keep like this, right? So we will have some policy regarding keeping the tools, cost items in a particular manner. So then that will become your policy. So once it becomes a policy, you say it is a standardization, right? So then you establish standardization, like say cleanliness, usability, and maintenance, right? The placement of items in day-to-day business operations, right? Like even at home also, you, whenever, take example, you, when you are maintaining your room, right? Uh, so you always keep your cupboard properly. Your shoe rack will be different way. You will keep shoes somewhere. You will keep your chappals somewhere. Then if you talk about clothes, you will keep aside say formal clothes, right? Casual clothes and so on, right? So same way in a business, right? Because of this Kaizen costing, as you are doing is studying them in detail, right? You're sorting them, right? So it will help you in standardizing and the basically the placement of atoms, so it saves your time and energy, right? And then next step is sustain, right? So whatever your standardization and all, right, you will communicate with all your employees, right? You will educate your all your employees about whatever the changes you are making through exam costs. You are bringing some improvement in your systems, so you have to educate your employees about that. You have to inform them that from today onwards, or say next week onwards, we are going to do like this. We are going to maintain, we are going to keep our tools in a particular manner. There is some change, right? So you have to communicate, you have to educate your employees, so there will be efficient use of tools and cost items, right? So thus a developing sense of self control, discipline, among your employees to maintain and follow the set standards, which was the above step, right? So as you follow these 5S steps in Kaizen costing, then it starts showing good improvements. Right? So sort, strengthen, shine. Right. Now, when we see what is the standard costing process, right? So under Kaizen costing process, what we'll see here, right? Involve your employees, correct? So, without the teamwork, we cannot solve. And the employees who are actually working on the actions, right? Various departments. So they know, correct, they know themselves, they know very well what is the situation there, right? So like suppose take example, if you take a accounts person in solving the production problem or making improvement there, it cannot happen, right? So you have to involve the employees of that particular task related people, correct? So first step is involve people, involve employees, correct? Then find problems. So the employees who are actually working there, right, they know what are the problems they face when they are following the existing standards. So they will say that these are the problems which we are facing by following the existing standards, right? Then obviously we will ask them, now you only try to think over this problem and you give some solutions, how we can solve this, how we can make improvements. So the employees who knows the problem very well, those they are handling because they are facing it, so they also give us better suggestions how they can use the different tools, cost items to solve this particular. So whatever the solution is coming from themselves only, right? It is not a solution which is coming from say a consultant, external person. It is within themselves. So as it is within themselves, it becomes very easy for implementing for that particular solution at a factory level or say at a any organizational level, right, or any activity level, any departmental level, correct? Then once you implement, check it, right? So you will check that whether it is giving the your desired outcome. If you are getting the desired outcome, then you will say, okay, we are achieving something. If the desired outcome is there, then again you will try to find out some other solutions, right? And solution which is giving me the whatever the desired outcome I was expecting. So then I will say it is good, we should implement and we should follow it in the future. Once you decide about that, then it becomes standardized, right? And as it becomes standardized, then you will inform all the related departments that now this is the procedure which will be following, right? These are the sets of actions which will be following, these are the strategies, policies which will be following. So it becomes standardized procedure. And once it is a standard, correct, and as it is having a continuous improvement, right, you will keep on reviving these steps again and again, right, to make smaller improvements and so on, correct? So this is basically the standard costing, sorry, Kaizen costing process, correct? So Kaizen costing process, like on the previous slide, what we are discussing about is involve your employees, correct? Second one is find problems. So the first one is involve employees. The involvement of employees, the participation on employees and their feedback helps in generating ideas and information, like on the previous slide we were discussing, because they know, because they are handling that particular activity, right? And it also eliminates the resistance to change in from their side, as they themselves are interested in solving the problem, right? They are involved in that, correct? So there will not be any resistance if there is any change, like I was telling you, if a consultant is suggesting them, so there will be little resistance, correct? Like same thing in with ourselves, when somebody else teaches tells you something to change the C, this one, then you generally say, okay, okay, I know what to do, right? Or I know what is better for me, or you will not even follow that, you will just neglect. So there will be some resistance there. But if it is coming with you, right, the change will be very smooth. Problems, right? Now, when you are talking about finding the problems here, what is very important is 360-degree feedback, correct? Now, 360-degree feedback, which you have already studied, okay, under OB and all other topics, correct? So the organization together with its employees of all departments such as customer support, finance, human resource, production, design, correct, needs to find out various problems in the organization with the help of techniques like 3-degree feedback, correct? So when you will implement through all these departments, right, these employees together will find out some problems, which problems means basically what we are trying to do here is that where we can make the improvements, right? So those things, not as such as big problems as such, okay? So or you can say that is a task, you right? And then think and find solutions. Next is solve identified problems, right? And this steps needs a lot of brainstorming session, tactical approach, right? Therefore, managers form a team of ingenious employees to find out a practical solution to each question. So the manager who is looking at a particular, say, this problem which he wants to improve the action, right? He will take some intelligent people, experienced people in that particular department, and they will be doing brainstorming and tactical approach and so on, and they will come out with the solutions. So next one is implementing any change involves cost and risk simultaneously, right? Because when you are making change, there will be some effects, right? And those effects may have effect on some cost or say risk, right? So therefore, to be safe, some idea must be testified on the smaller part of the organization. So yeah, new suggestion which is coming from the selected team, then you will try to implement at somewhere level, and then you will try to implement uh, at a particular smaller part of the organization, and once it is testified there and showing the desired results, correct, in the second stage, the next stage, sorry, that is check, okay, then you will think of standardizing it, correct? So you will implement at some smaller part of the organization, and then checking. So managers need to look after the proper implementation of the Kaizen costing related with that particular idea, right? So new idea should not remain in words. Instead, it should be practically applied to the business processes, right? So whatever the suggestions which you are getting, right, it should not be just remain on the paper, right? We should be able to implement it practically in the applied processes, because sometimes it happens that there are few suggestions which we get, but those suggestions we cannot implement as such, right? So the suggestions what we are getting, it should be implementable, right? Correct. So that is very important practically it should be achievable, right? Satisfied with the results, right? In the above step in checking, right? In the organization needs to set this change as a standard procedure for all departments and across the whole organization. So, like suppose take example, you are having you are producing say product. Okay, take example like a bicycle, or say a car or a two-wheeler, and then you are having 4 or 5 plants all over, say a country or all over world or something like that. Okay, then what they will do is they will standardize this particular process throughout the organization. So if you are having production plants, right, and you are having say 30 plants all over the world, you are working suppose stay in 30 countries, and in 30 countries you are operate having 30 plants. So now you will standardize this particular process throughout the organization, all your 30 fact production plants and so organizations and so on, correct? And then last one is repeat, correct? So repeat is standardized procedures becomes the organization culture when continuously practice over a period of time. So what are the advantages of Kaizen costing, right? So the Kaizen costing advantages, we can say customer satisfaction, right? As we are talking about continuously related with the uh, about the continuous improvement, so your customer will be getting, and the unnecessary cost items have been removed, correct? So it will improve the customer satisfaction. So the Kaizen costing is a customer oriented technique which focuses on providing better service to the consumers, right? So as you are talking about say car or something like that. Okay, just hold on 1 minute. Hello. Sorry. Okay. uh, so customer satisfaction is one of the biggest advantage through Kaizen costing which organizations achieve, right? Then second advantage is forming work teams, right? So as we are talking about involvement of employees in the Kaizen costing process, right? So what is happening? It is forming the work teams, right? And when it is form the work teams, right? So uh, the teamwork, right, which gives you the better results, right? So every employee involved in the implementation of Kaizen practice needs to perform a work in a work team with a common aim of improvement. So this is another advantage as people start working in a groups, right, in teams, right? So the teamwork improves, so the productivity increases, right? The motivation increases, right? And then it starts showing good results, correct? So forming work teams has become one of the good advantage of Kaizen costing technique. The next one is about continuous improvement. So continuous improvement we are talking about because there is a continuous improvement sub-cycle which we follow under Kaizen costing technique, right? So this emphasizes the improvement and betterment of product processes, project, and the organization overall. So this is a big advantage of following Kaizen costing technique because there is a continuous improvement and betterment in everything, every aspect of the business, that is a product, process, services, project, and the organization as a overall various departments and so on. Correct. Then next one is about it creates better work environment as there is a good teams are formed, right? For the employees as well as the management. Correct. Like take example, sharing canteen. Like yesterday I was giving you example, right? Uh, the same canteen is there for all the employees, from the top manager to the security guard. Okay, everyone is getting same food, right? Same quality food. I am saying same food means same quality food, right? Nutritious food, right? Say tasty food, correct? Then dress code, right? Even there is a dress code. Dress code now what we see is like everyone is correct. There is no separate uniform. Like take example, whenever you are in the your class, right? Uh, all the students will have same uniform, correct? A class representative, right? Or a leader, student leader, right? He will not have a different type of dress code. Okay, so the dress code will be uniform. So it creates, right, a better work environment. Everybody feels that everybody is important in the organization. So everybody is contributing towards the organization. Even there may be hierarchy, positions may be different, right? But everybody's contribution is important, valid, and so on. So that is the advantage of Kaizen costing, correct? Then problem solving. Now, as in the Kaizen costing technique, we are talking about continuous improvement, sub-cycle, right? So it is talking about problem solving, right? So this is the another advantage. The teams are there which are looking for a problem solving and not just a problem showing, right? They are not just mentioning the problems, right? They are trying to solve those problems, whatever problems they are facing at the process level, department level, product level, right? Project level, whatever is they are facing, right? So it is more of problem solving. Like generally that's what we see in India, correct? People talk about just problems, right? But they don't talk about problem solving, right? Because there is no teamwork in India, what we see, correct? There are so many organizations which are like say central government, state government, corporations. There's so many things which are having, and then many times we see in the newspapers, right? Central government is taking different position from the state government, correct? A state government is taking different position from the central government. So there is so many things. So that's why many things we individuals we say the problems are not getting solved, correct? Because we always try to put the problem solving with somebody else. Now under this Kaizen costing, there are internal teams only which are able to problem solving, right? So it is improving, right, your business operations. So it is achieving the perfection. So that's why you become a competitive leader, right, among your competition. That's why there are so many Japanese companies which are ruling the markets for so many years in those particular product segments, right? Because they are continuously looking from problem solving. Then promotes cross-functional teams. So this is another advantage of Kaizen costing. So this will help you in promoting cross-functional team. That means you're you're forming a team, and in that team you're taking one person from HR for training, one person from the production. He knows how the worker should do. Then you're taking another person from say costing department where he will find out how much is the cost of training development, so on. So it is a cross-functional team. Person will be involved, right? Materials department person will be involved. Stores department people will be involved, correct? So your cross-functional teams, even the sometimes even the sales distribution people will be involved with the production people, right? And so on to make improvements in the product. What is the customer's feedback? So this promotes cross-functional teams, and as this promotes cross-functional teams, right, it will encourage to have a, say, giving a good results, right? Because the problem solving will be in a better manner because it is a cross functional team and all the angles are coming into the picture. So cross functional teams will help, right, each others, and they will come out with good problem solving. So that will help the organization in making the improvements and reduction of variable cost or even sometimes fixed cost, right? So it encourages, right, right? So technicalities, right? Take example when you're talking about a production person is involved, he will bring the technicalities. If the costing person is involved, he will bring some costing. Take example, finance person is involved, right? He will bring all those things like you have studied strategic cost management. You will bring the strategic cost management into that as a, you are a member of finance in that particular team, right? And then this particular team will give you good results because they are bringing different skills, they are bringing different knowledge, they are bringing different technical uh, say understanding and so on, correct? And then widely applicable, correct? This is another advantage of Kaizen costing, that it is of a repetitive nature. So as you are implemented that a particular uh, action Kaizen costing which has helped you, right, that action you can repeat into a different units like we were talking about, uh, implementing into a different factory setup. Like we were taking an example, you are a company which is producing, say, a product in 30 different countries, and 30 different countries you are having 30 production plants. So as you are getting it at one place, you can implement that, right, into your other factories. Now what will happen? Even the other competitors, right, your competitors, when they will come to know that these are the things which this particular company has done, right, even then they will try to bring into their company, right? So that will overall will help to that particular industry as such, your car model and all that things, right? Those Kaizen costing techniques which is helping you, right? That improvements, even the other car manufacturers will start implementing in India. So there will be overall benefit to that manufacturing industry as such, correct? And even if you take example like a service industry, correct? Like take example, if you are in a airline business, correct? Now whatever this Kaizen costing technique one company is using, right, now it will become a widely applicable. That's what it has happened, that Six Sigma, Kaizen costing, all these kinds of techniques, whatever they have started implementing in Japan, right? Then slowly even they started using these techniques all over world. It has come to India, started in Japan, but as it is widely applicable, right? It has come to India as well as some other countries also. So this is a exchange of knowledge, right, throughout the world and getting the benefit to the whole industry as such, in either in the service industry or a manufacturing industry. And the another most important benefit of Kaizen costing is reduce wastage, right? So if you talk about reducing wastage, correct, overall it is benefiting the economy as such, not only the company, your company, you are saving the cost, right, by reducing the wastage, correct, your profits will increase. But as you are developing some particular technique which reduces the wastage, and that particular technique now is applied by various companies in the country, so there will be overall reduction in the wastage, right? So it will save some natural resources. Like take example, if you're reducing the wastage of water, okay, now that will benefit in the, and your company is working in that, and if you learn to reduce the wastage of water, say of 1 lakh liters, okay, now like that, suppose there are 1000 companies in India, right? Now if 1000 companies start implementing that, every company will save 1 lakh liters of water, right? So overall there will be a huge benefit, correct? So it will be in a billion, right, where you will say million, correct, where you uh, 1000 lakhs liter, correct? So improvement throughout the organization, throughout the country as such, or even you can say a globalized world, right? So reducing wastage even will help in climate change, or even it will help in say pollution, correct, pollution control. So many things are there. So natural resources, efficient use of natural resources, because natural resources are becoming now very costly, correct, right? That's why nowadays we are seeing that the climate change has become as the most important goal of the international community. So due to the better time management, materials management in Kaizen costing technique, the wastage of time and resources can be avoided, right? So it will give you a better industry image, correct? Okay, right. Shall we stop here today? We'll continue tomorrow. Okay, so thank you very much. Any doubt? Prahlad Neelam. Basically, this subject is very interesting, but the interaction is more important. Okay, right. Okay. So shall we stop here? Okay, even that reply is not there. Okay, I will stop here, and then because the next slide is about drawbacks and example, right? It will take more time, and you will be having now another lecture at 11. Only 1 minute is left. Okay. So thank you very much. Good day.